Welcome back to Recap Central. Today I'm going to explain a drama mystery movie called Secret Obsession. Spoilers ahead. Subscribe if you like my videos. One rainy day a woman is escaping an unknown pursuer. She tries to call for help but gets no help. She runs into a bathroom and hides. The man comes after her but she manages to escape the bathroom. She finds a car with the keys inside. She breaks the window with a rock and gets inside. But the car is attached to the pursuer's car. And she can't drive away. She runs outside but gets run over by a car. A group of people come to help and they call 911. The woman is waking up on the hospital. She remembers her husband and their wedding but suddenly remembers what happened the other night. A man comes to the hospital. He tells a nurse she is Russell Williams. He asks for his wife named Jennifer. The nurse tells him she is in the operation room. And he can't see her yet. He goes there anyway and sees Jennifer getting revived. Outside, Russell asks the nurse if Jennifer remembers anything. The nurse says she had heavy internal bleeding and she might not remember anything. In the waiting room, Russell falls asleep. The next morning the nurse wakes him up and tells him Jennifer is out of surgery. But she is not awake yet. Russell goes to see Jennifer. Russell tells Jennifer he won't leave until she is better. Detective Frank Page is buying a present for his daughter's birthday. He gets called to a crime scene. He goes to where Jennifer got hit. And later he visits the hospital. And he talks to Russell. He asks him when was the last time he saw Jennifer. Russell answers last time he saw her she went to buy groceries. He called her a while later but she didn't answer. He asked at the store but the owner hadn't seen her. Frank asks if they had problems in their marriage. Russell answers they married recently and they had no problems. Frank tells Russell her car is missing. Frank goes home and wraps his daughter's gift. He begins to cry as he does. Frank has many gifts stored in the closet. We hear on the TV. 10-year-old Hannah Page went missing. At the hospital, Jennifer wakes up. Russell speaks to the doctor. He says Jennifer has severe brain damage. So she won't be able to remember recent events. She will remember older memories but she won't remember Russell. He says she will remember eventually but it will take a time. Jennifer talks to Russell. She doesn't remember anything about the night of the accident. Russell says he will be there with her and is going to help her. Frank interrogates the man that hit Jennifer. He asks if he saw someone else that night. He didn't see anyone but saw a with pickup towing her car. Frank informs his boss someone left her there or took her car. Either way, someone else was there. At the hospital, a man sits next to Frank. He is called Jim Kahn. Russell tells Jennifer about their life while he shows her pictures. They are happy. Jennifer asks him if he met her parents yet. Russell informs her parents died years ago in a house fire. He thought she would remember but she forgot. Jim Kahn goes to the hospital and asks for Jennifer. He is not allowed to visit her because he is not a close relative. Kahn leaves her some flowers. While he leaves, Russell stands behind a door looking at him. Jennifer keeps getting better. She can eat alone and use a wheelchair. The nurse says she is improving well in all areas including her memories. Jennifer and Russell drive to a big house. Russell says this is their house. While looking at the fireplace, Jennifer remembers the pursuer holding a knife. Russell asks what is wrong but she doesn't answer. Jennifer says the place is really quiet. Russell says is because the nearest neighbors are a mile away. Russell receives a call while cooking. He goes outside to talk. Jennifer is in the balcony and listens to the conversation. Frank says they haven't found the car yet. But Kim Kahn saw the pickup's number plate. Frank says he should bring Jennifer to the station so he can talk to her. Russell tries to deny the request but ends up agreeing to take her tomorrow. Jennifer asks what will happen tomorrow. Russell lies and tells her he must go to work. Jennifer asks if her boss is okay with her taking time off. Russell says she quit her job before the wedding because they wanted to start a family. Jennifer realizes she has no family or job and asks Russell about her friends. He says she doesn't see her friends as much as she used to. But they asked about her when she was in hospital. He reaches for her hand but Jennifer feels uncomfortable. She asks Russell if they were happy together. He says they still are. Jim Kahn arrives home. We see Russell in his side mirror. Russell asks him why he asked about Jennifer in the hospital. Kahn gives no answer. Kahn asks who he is. Russell tells him he is Jennifer's husband. He takes a crowbar and hits Kahn. He breaks his neck and takes him to his house. Jennifer hears him arrive and wakes up and sees him digging in the backyard. The next morning she sees a pile of dirt in the garden. Frank calls Russell as they didn't come to the station. Russell doesn't answer. Frank asks his colleague to trace the call. He goes to the hospital and asks for Russell's address. As he can't find him in the police database, the nurse gives him the address Russell gave them. Frank asks the hospital to call Russell as well since he can't reach him. Jennifer looks through a photo album and notices Russell's hair looks different in the mirror. She goes down the staircase even though she isn't strong enough. She finds a wedding picture. She sees it's badly photoshopped. She tries to find answers and checks Russell's computer. Suddenly Russell comes back and she rushes to close the laptop. Russell gifts her a phone. There is no signal on the phone. Frank heads to the address the nurse gave him. An old lady lives in the house. She doesn't know Jennifer or Russell. Frank gets a call from the station. Russell's phone can't be traced. Jennifer is in bed with Russell. They kiss. She has a flashback and freaks out. Russell says he deserves a night with his wife. He calms down and says he's sorry. Jennifer ignores him. Russell watches Jennifer on his computer from a secret camera. Frank keeps working on the case. He calls the hospital and asks for the security footage. He also asks how Russell proved to be Jennifer's husband. The nurse says he showed pictures and identified her back tattoo. Frank sees Russell coming out of with pickup the night of the accident. The next day Russell tries to apologize to Jennifer with some flowers. Frank visits the tattoo artist and asks what Jennifer's tattoo means. He tells him it means Allen. Frank searches for Jennifer Allen and finds a house in San Jose. When Frank arrives at the house he finds the mailbox overflowing and the door open. There is no electricity on the house. Frank keeps looking. He enters a room and finds Jennifer's parents' corpses on the bed. Jennifer hides Russell's wallet and tells him to go buy groceries. Russell locked the door before leaving. When he leaves Jennifer looks in his wallet. She finds her driver license and learns her name is Jennifer Allen. She picks the door lock with a hairpin. Frank speaks to Jennifer and Russell's boss. He says they left the company before the wedding. Jennifer manages to guess Russell's laptop password. She finds the unedited pictures of her husband. The boss shows Frank a picture of the couple. Frank sees the man that picked Jennifer up from the hospital and asks who he is. The man is called Ryan Garrity. He left the job months ago when he punched his boss. The boss gives Frank the address the real Russell left on a note. Jennifer remembers Ryan is the one that attacked her. Ryan remembers he left his wallet and rushes back. Jennifer grabs a jacket and goes outside trying to find signal. She opens the phone and sees the battery has been melted. In the garden Jennifer trips on a hand and falls. Ryan hits her head with a rock and takes her upstairs. Jennifer wakes up and asks what is happening. Ryan gives her a pill. She asks who he is. He chains her to the bed and leaves. While shopping the nurse finds Ryan and tells him about Frank. He speeds off. Jennifer breaks free. She goes to the kitchen and wraps her ankle in duct tape. She finds her phone inside a car. Ryan comes back. He opens the car's trunk. Inside is Russell's body. Jennifer goes back upstairs. Russell is about to discover she isn't chained to the bed anymore, but the bell rings. Frank is outside. Jennifer sees him and asks for help. Frank goes to the door but Ryan knocks him out. Ryan takes Jennifer back to the room and locks the door. He then locks Frank in a freezer. Jennifer tries to find signal but Ryan comes back and ties her up. Jennifer cries and Ryan tells her how they met. Ryan was stalking Jennifer for years and he became obsessed with her. He tells her he killed her parents and husband. He planned to kill her as well. But when she lost her memory he took the chance. Frank wakes up in the freezer. Ryan puts Frank's car in the garage. He talks to Jennifer. She pretends to understand him and asks for a drink. She burns the rope. When Ryan comes back, she hits him with a vase. She grabs the keys and locks him in the room. She falls down the stairs. Ryan breaks the door. Meanwhile, Frank escapes the freezer. Jennifer walks into the woods and tries to find Signal. Ryan is looking for her. Frank follows them. Jen distracts Ryan with a rock and hits him with a log. Ryan pushes her down a hill. He is about to shoot her when Frank takes him down. Jen grabs the gun and shoots Ryan twice. 3 months later, Frank is packing his things when Jen visits him. Frank gives her Russell's letter. In the letter, Russell expresses his love for her. Jen drives away with a smile on her face.